listeners. Welcome to the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. Good morning, Marissa. How's it going, fam?
Fabulous.
Right?
Absolutely
I mean, it's a good
fabulous.
day today. It's actually gloomy for once. I mean, I've been so sick and tired of feeling like I'm in Satan's ball sack, like all summer long.
Satan's
Like,
ball sack.
it literally feels like that. I'm ready to get out of that sweaty goo, if you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to live in some winter
Oh,
wonderland, okay?
My
So this is
background is
really
falling.
it's all good. Hey, that's the reality of being in the Millennial Bunker edition. But we appreciate you having you on in, Marissa, because you're an amazing co-host. But we always like to do this at the top of the show because on this day in 1866, President Andrew Johnson formally declares the U.S. Civil War is over. And also on this day in 1920, the American Professional Football Association forms, which we all know as of today as the NFL. So I know I'm excited to start seeing that start to kick off real time soon. And also on this day in 1948, singer-songwriter Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin turned 73 years old today. Happy birthday, my man. And also, we got a great show for everybody out there because joining us on Just Talking is co-founder of Gen Z Critics, returning to the show, Elizabeth Betsy Kim, and also special guest during that segment, Jessica Devaney. She's a producer of Netflix's film Pray Away, and also our Strike a Chord artist, Phreckles. But I want to remind the listening audience to don't forget, I'm like fumbling my words here, but I really want to let you guys know what's good because Marissa and I, we've been working our tails off. We have this brand new podcast series called Off the Fret, featuring the Blowies as our inaugural guest. More music talk. All right, Marissa, it's time to rock and roll. All right, it's hashtag TLDR, too long don't read. Marissa and I, we did all the reading for you, so you didn't have to do it. After a 4-year break, the anonymous app, a magnet for millennials and notorious for cyberbullying, is zooming up the US iPhone download charts once again. In an article from Fast Company titled, Yik Yak is back and it's already number 3 in Apple's App Store for free downloads by Diana Shea. So the next time you look down at your smartphone, you may be surprised to see a ghost of college past. Yik Yak, the shit-talking app that became a hotspot for bullying and a hate speech from anonymous users within a 5-mile radius, is returning to a smart device near you. And as someone who is an advocate of freedom of speech, we can all agree that Yik Yak was a cesspool. It's like Tinder meets Twitter meets Craigslist. People should be able to say what they want online, but they also need to be able to own up to what they say. If you're gonna pull a Chrissy Teigen and say some dumb shit harassing someone online by telling them to kill themselves or threaten physical harm, social media companies should do everything in their power to regulate and report these illegal activities. Overall, Yik Yak has every right to return in the market, but we'll see whether millennials, including Gen Z, gravitate towards the anonymous app. Again! We'll see what's good.
All right, my background's just going to be what it is today.
Hey, it is what it is. We're just
there
glad to see you, fam.
There you go. Okay. Well, I finally hit my 24% body fat. And for all of you out there that don't know what that is, that means I have an AK at a flat tummy bikini body.
There we go, fam.
And of course, my arch nemesis has reared her ugly head because in an article from today, the Girl Scouts just unveiled a new cookie flavor perfect for chocolate lovers by Chrissy Callahan. So the organization announced it's adding a new flavor called Adventurefuls to its popular cookie lineup. And it sounds incredible because look at this picture. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The new brownie-inspired cookie features a caramel-flavored creme, a hint of sea salt, and a chocolate drizzle in the middle. And will be available across the country during the 2022 Girl Scout cookie season. And all I can say is F you, Girl Scouts. That's right, F you, because I have spent the last year getting into shape, depriving myself of tag-alongs and Thin Mints, and right, when I feel like I have finally gotten in control of your crack-laced goodness, you release my kryptonite. Okay, it's not fair, ever. And Chris, I'm not sure if you're an actual Girl Scout cookie lover like me, but
Yeah.
you can't tell me that you will not be expanding your Leonardo dad bod
Right.
with a few of these scrumptious cookies next year.
I find it, it's funny that you say that you feel like this adventureful that's going to fill your tummy is going to ruin your whole diet. Maybe you need to check your regimen behind the scenes if this is going to throw off everything
Oh,
that you've
dude.
already done this summer, right? I mean, that sounds crazy. But when I looked at that cookie, was it just me or did that look like egg yolk that was just sitting on the top of that egg?
It's just
I mean,
you.
on the top, it looked like on top of the egg. It looks like it's like the center yellow piece that's on top of the cookie. It looks disgusting in my
No.
opinion. That's not the
Okay.
best picture of all things to
That
promote
is
that.
an amazing picture of it. Does not look like an egg yolk. You are definitely not a Girl Scout cookie lover. I can say that right now. And to go back to you, yes, a season of Girl Scout cookies will throw your whole body off. It will. All my
It
work
could, yeah. I
gone.
mean,
A
that's
season
if you,
of it, it will.
maybe you should have a policy in your household to just not eat cookies in general if this is going to throw you off your whole balance of
I
life.
try that. I try that, but I'm an addict and I have an addict personality. And when I need something and want something, and then I have to get it. So
I'm gonna
I
blame
might
it
have
on
to
this.
sue them.
I'm gonna blame it on the sea salt if that's the case.
No, wait, 100%. It's that combination. It's like when a scientist puts it together, right? You have the chocolate, the sea salt, and the caramel. Look, Starbucks even has a drink like that, so they know exactly what they're doing. But hey, look, I guess I need to say goodbye to my 2021 lean body look and hello to my 2022 adventurous cookie curves.
It might all just work out if you're going to join, Mark Zuckerberg's, metaverse that he just introduced, over the week. But we're not going to talk about that. We got something else that I wanted to bring up to you guys because this was kind of crazy. Let me share it with you guys. In an article from BuzzFeed titled, "Men Are Sharing the Guy Secrets That They Don't Usually Share with Women, and They Range from Gross to Very Sad" by Daniela Emanuel. What was once sacred to a man is now an open book of secrets on the internet. Thanks to the latest Reddit thread, which asked men to share the guy secrets women don't know about. So, I Am So Choke writes, "Sometimes we pee on the poo stains in the toilet because we are too lazy to use the scrub." And I have to say, pretty darn true. No one wants to stick their finger all over your poop stain when you just hope that the water can just rinse it down itself. M-Hole12 writes, "Manspreading isn't a sexual thing. We're trying not to crush our balls between our legs. No, you, sir, are just an a-hole, and you belong to have your nuts crushed in a refrigerator." Also, First Fantasy writes, "There is no amount of hot sex that will stop us from masturbating as soon as we're alone. It's 2 separate releases, and you just filled up the spank bank." Sounds like someone's favorite movie is Wolf on Wall Street. Yup, there's Matthew McConaughey going, yup. And finally, Captain Flowers 91 writes, "Every guy has at one point used their erection to hold up a towel upon exiting the shower. And I can speak for myself, but that has never happened." So this sounds kind of ludicrous, but Marissa, clearly you're a woman. Have you learned anything new today? Because I feel like I have too.
No, because y'all men are nasty. Y'all nasty. You're disgusting. Okay, you might not have
What-
tried the
what's-
towel or the
what's so
towel
nasty?
erection, but I have seen guys do that. Come out shouting like, "Hey, look at me! Hey!" Ridiculous. You know what's so funny? Here's the worst one. Okay, let me just go on to this my little soap opera.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was getting my headshots done once, and this photographer, I won't name him, pretty famous, he was like going on about nudist colonies, and I was like, yeah, I don't have any problem with the male like body and female body. He's like, oh, that's cool. Butt naked, totally stripped, never met the man before, and he started bouncing his penis. Like it was flaccid, and he was like, look what I could do. So I put nothing past you men. You're disgusting.
Yeah, we got a bunch of Harvey Weinstein still, I guess, running
It
around
was.
the world. But I think that we can all agree that some of them are funny, some of them are really sad, but some of them just make us shake our damn head. This is crazy, fam.
Yeah, nasty.
Really nasty.
Well, which one out of all those do you do?
Oh, That's crazy.
Which one do you do, Chris, out of all of those?
Out of all of these, out of this whole list, I would say that I'm definitely the kind of person that pees on my poo stain. And I think every man can agree with that number one fact. Come on, you got like a little hot rod that's just like kind of staring down the barrel.
A hot rod?
Yeah,
a hot rod? Is that what you call your penis?
Yeah. You gotta drill it straight down. It's like a drag race. You gotta shoot that bad boy down, and you want to get a good dispersion of the poo stain.
On that
so I'm glad you figured out a little bit more about my personal life. What's good, listeners? Our guest returning to the Chris Collins Show Millennial Talk Show is Just Talking guest Elizabeth Betsy Kim. She's the co-founder of Gen Z Critics. And as we get her on in, how you doing, fam? How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
We are fabulous.
Hi,
We're beyond stoked to
Hi,
have
Betsy.
you.
Hi.
We're beyond stoked to have you return to the Chris Collins Show Millennial Talk Show, because for anybody who doesn't know what Gen Z Critics all about, if you can give us a quick recap about what you're all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So our philosophy is that we want kids to start writing about movies. We want kids to have these visual analysis skills. And for them to do that, there should be no barriers. So we publish all critics ages 24 and under. You don't have to have any sort of experience in the film industry or in film criticism to get published on our website. We just need you to, love movies and to put your thoughts in writing. And that's what we exist for, because we're really against the barriers that exist in the industry for young people.
Absolutely. And
that.
Betsy, how can the CCS family get involved with the Gen Z Critics? Like, what's the best way where they can submit to your organization?
Yeah, so we have a website. It's genzcritics.com, and we have an apply page that you can get to from the homepage that contains all of the details for our criticism contest this year. Our deadline is December 17th, so mid-December, right before the holidays. It's a little earlier this year, so, I would try to get your application in as soon as possible. But certainly anyone ages 24 and under can apply. If you become a finalist in the contest, you get to participate in a roundtable with other finalists and a professional critic, as well as receive an all-access pass to the National Festival for Talented Youth in Seattle.
That is amazing, Betsy. Look at you at your young age pulling this off. I find that so incredible. And also, it's my understanding that Gen Z Critics are also including their own Oscar voting this year. I mean, why?
Yeah, that's right. So there's been a lot of, I think, criticism of Oscars and these sort of establishments that, decide what is important in the industry. I know that there is a significant group of people who are sick of members of the HFPA being paid off by Netflix, or Oscars being...
Hi, I'm right here.
How about all of us?
All of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly diversity is an issue. It's an ongoing issue. It's always been an issue. So, why not, instead of, trying to change this thing that probably will never change, that involves, money.
I would say never, but I definitely agree with you on the diversity when it comes to the age gap. I think that's something hopefully our generations together can fix that problem. But I think this is a great first step into, pressuring the Oscar voters to go, maybe we don't necessarily align, and we're going to find out real quickly with Gen Z Critics. But, I really wanted to throw this to you at the top of the show, Betsy, because what's been on your mind recently? Like, what have you been doing when it comes to the entertainment world?
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of K-dramas with my family during COVID. It's been incredibly fun. Yeah, so K-drama is Korean drama. There are a lot of sort of soap operas, comedies, but yeah, it's all genres that fall under the category of TV shows that are produced in Korea. They're incredibly fun. So yeah, if anyone is looking to get into a new show, I have a pitch for you.
Okay, let's hear it. What's up?
All right. So because I will never get over this, and because I will carry this grudge to the grave, anyone else who is butthurt about the way Game of Thrones ended can run into the arms of K-dramas.
Really? Because, oh my God. Okay, sorry. One of my favorite authors. I hate him for not writing the final book and just finishing the series off horribly, totally bought out. Okay, you just turned me on to K drama. I'm in.
Yeah.
But what separates, Korean dramas from American shows?
Yeah, I mean, I was really astounded by just the amount of content that is offered. Most shows are 20 to 24 episodes, each of which are an hour each, which was just astounding to me. And sometimes they air twice a week. So you get a really intense experience, a lot of content. And I will say it does end after a season. It's not quite a miniseries because, again, sometimes you have 24 episodes, but you do have to say goodbye to the characters after one season. But because there's so many episodes, there's so much content. From a closure perspective, also, it's really great because the last few episodes do a really good job generally of tying up loose ends, just because, again, there's so many episodes to fill.
It's almost like a limited
I don't know
series.
about that. I have to jump in. Okay.
Really?
That's like Bridgerton. They're getting rid of Reggie. And I'm like, I get it. In the next book, he's not in it. I don't care. You rewrite that. He needs to be in season 2. So I don't know. You might have like broken my heart.
But you know what's sort of interesting about this, though, that I was just thinking in my head, because we know that the Emmys is about to start next month.
Ooh,
Do you think Korean dramas would ever be able to be highlighted into the Emmys with how they are right now today?
Oh, man. I mean, I think the international appeal is like it's uncontested. I mean, it's amazing how much K-dramas have spread not only through other East Asian countries, but also Southeast Asian, as well as South Asian countries. It's just incredible kind of like how successful it's been as a cultural export. Now, will the Emmys, I think, understand that the world doesn't revolve around Hollywood? I don't know.
Right.
I tend to be a bit more skeptical in that regard, but yeah, they're definitely a cultural force, and the quality of the direction and the writing is incredible. I also want to highlight, shout out to all female screenwriters. Most of the TV dramas that are written in Korea are written by women, which was also mind-blowing for me as someone from here. Yeah.
That's really
Love
cool.
it.
I wish we could see
Love it.
more international representation when it comes to the Emmys. But obviously, as you can see where we're going, we're definitely swinging towards that transition, because the 73rd Primetime Emmy Awards will be held on Sunday, September 19th, with The Crown and The Mandalorian tied for the most nominations with 24 each. So, Betsy, is this an accurate representation of TV excellence this year?
Ooh. It is what people are watching, which, I mean, I understand the criticism of like there being a significant gap between what critics like, what people are actually watching. So that does make me happy in that regard, that what people are drawn to is being represented.
That there's a television series that has been snubbed by the Emmys.
Oh yeah, I have one. So I watched a lot of late night. I also watched a lot of sketch comedy during COVID. There is one sketch comedy show that I think nails Gen Z humor. It's called Z-Way, and the show's name is Z-Way. The host's name is Z-Way. She's brilliant, and she often trolls her guests in a way that reminds me of Between Two Ferns by Zach Galifianakis. Also a huge fan of that show. But I think Z-Way was too cool to be nominated by the Emmys. I'm not sure the Emmys like maybe understand Gen Z humor.
You know what? Explain more. What does that mean? Too cool for the Emmys. I mean, with your vernacular in film and TV criticism, what does too cool mean?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they don't think it's important enough. Maybe they don't understand the kind of meme humor of generations that spend a lot of time on TikTok and Twitter. But I think it's brilliant. I don't think that's diminished by the fact that, she wasn't nominated.
But it is interesting that you're sort of talking about broadcast television, right? And streaming services. And we know with this 73rd Primetime Emmy Awards show that the broadcast television, it collected its fewest number of nominations, totaling 96, while the HBO/HBO Max amassed 130, edging out 2020 champs, which we all know by Netflix by 1. So literally 130, 129. So is it time for big changes to happen at the Emmys so these kind of shows be better represented? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, streaming is king, and it's really hard to compete when Netflix has buckets of money that they're throwing at every single project possible to see what sticks. It's really hard to compete with that. I don't know.
But
I almost feel bad.
Let me throw this fun fact at you, because this was kind of alarming in my opinion. There's
Mm.
only one broadcast show up for Outstanding Drama Series and Outstanding Comedy Series, and in the broadcast shows only received one nomination for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series, and only 2 actresses for Outstanding Lead Actress. So with that being said, should there be a different set of categories, leaving the streaming shows to compete against one another and broadcast and cable go head to head? Or do you believe nothing should change and instead we look at the shows ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that having a separate category would necessarily matter, because if people are watching streaming anyway, then I mean, who wants to be nominated in a category that no one is watching? So I don't know that that'll change viewership necessarily.
So you think that it should be a mix of popularity and mixed with, people praising a film, correct? I mean, that's kind of how I felt with the Avengers. I was always kind of shocked back then it never got, Best Picture. It was the most watched show of all times, at least for like Best Score.
Yeah. I mean, I think, the idea that the Academy had to create a popular category was a really bad one. And it would only kind of drive a wedge between like movies that are seen as like commercially successful and those that are seen as critically successful. I think it should be a mix of both. I also think that award shows should act as a counterweight against, like every Marvel movie that comes out so often, to highlight the indie artists. I'm a big fan of indie film.
Well, it sounds like Matt Damon has that much security. At least, with the Emmys and the Oscars, they're kind of curving out, Marvel films. And the reason why I mention Matt Damon is because he joins a lengthy list of acclaimed and popular filmmakers who have opened up about the challenges of modern cinema faces. I mean, and he's even pointing out and putting the finger towards superheroes and streaming for ruining movies for what they are. Do you believe this is a baby boomer mentality?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at the kind of people who are complaining about this, it's a very specific type of person, tend to be multimillionaire, extremely successful, the most connected in the industry that you could be. And they're complaining about these changes that they are in the position to make. No one is better positioned to make these changes in the industry that they want to see than Matt Damon. But it really frustrates me that he's like sitting on his ass and complaining, because it's fine to have those opinions. Like I might disagree with you. I might think that you're oversimplifying the issue and romanticizing the past in ways that older generations tend to do. But if you feel that there are these significant forces that are eroding good cinema, then you need to put your money where your mouth is. Well, it is your obligation to find new creators and new stories that matter and fund these projects.
And I think Chris hit it on the head when he said it's a baby boomer mentality. Even though he is like an exennial, he's kind of on that like millennial X gen right there, but he has made his money for the last 20 years.
That's right.
All the baby boomers have. He is comfortable. He's being lazy. Yeah. And he's in a bubble, and he's not looking at our world has changed. Streaming is in and not leaving, period.
That's so true, Marissa. And I'm gonna just play a little devil's advocate just to kind of spice this up a little bit, because I did find the Dune director, Dennis Villanueva. Hopefully I said his last name
I can't wait for Dune.
But he also chimed in this week acknowledging that the pandemic is, quote, the enemy of the cinema for forcing his film to debut on HBO Max the same day it opens in theaters. So if streaming services, continue to follow this business model, post-pandemic, will this be the death of what Matt Damon's calling modern cinema?
Ooh, oh man, I really hope not. I also read that article, and I understand. Like, I think it's fine for a filmmaker to be upset about not being able to show the film the way it's meant to be seen. I don't want to see Dune at home either. I want to see it in theaters.
This is one film. I'm going to the theater. I want surround sound.
Absolutely.
I want the experience that is a film that I'm going to go to.
It's funny that the both of you guys are saying that, because I know the Rise of the Guardians director, Peter Ramsey, had many thoughts on this. And he also tweeted that although many people will watch films on TV, there's still something almost church-like about seeing them in theaters. And what do these directors not understand? I mean, I don't want to go to church. I don't think most kids want to go to church anymore. I think most people like to sit at the comfort of their home. They can buy their 65-inch TCL TV screen, whatever is affordable for you on Black Friday, and then rather just sit on their ass at home. I mean, what what should we should be alarmed about when it comes to these kind of movements?
Alarmed about Matt Damon?
No, so much for if the streaming services kind of continue with this kind of approach where let's do the same day releases. Like, let's say, for example, I know for Amazon, they just bought out Hotel Transylvania 4 for $100 million when the first 3 films in that animated series made $1.3 billion box office wise. Well, this, like, does anybody want to work in the film industry anymore? If that's the case, it doesn't sound like so much money being made from these kind of films anymore. It feels like it's such a tricky situation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You know what? I respect that. I respect that you just say at least you don't know, and we're obviously going to learn moving forward. But Betsy, I honestly don't know what to consider as the best fight of the year. Is it the Jake Paul versus the Tyson Woodley fight, or is it the Scarlett Johansson versus, I said Tyson, it's Tyron Woodley, by the way. Or is it the Scarlett Johansson versus Disney? Because, you know, all jokes aside, Scarlett Johansson alleges that the parties understood their contractual promise that the Black Widow would have enjoyed the wide theatrical release. So doesn't she kind of have a point? I mean, why did Disney not honor that contract, but seems like they were able to do it with Marvel's 10 Rings?
Right. Well, so, you know, ScarJo has said this is her last Marvel movie, and I believe, even though I didn't watch the film, that Florence Pugh is meant to replace her as Black Widow. So if that's true, I think, you know, Disney did the math and decided it was okay with screwing her over for her last film. They don't really have any more money to make from her.
Do you feel like Disney was trying to screw over? Because she did originally sign a contract to do, you know, the Towers, the Hollywood Tower Terror film, but then the minute she sued Disney, then she lost her job. I mean, is there some pettiness going on Scarlett's end, or do you feel like Scarlett has a point?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to say that a win for ScarJo is a win for all women, because I don't believe that to be true. But yeah, I do believe that, you know, Disney did violate the contract in this instance. And yeah, like any other company that rakes in billions, their army of corporate lawyers is going to work very hard to make sure that they can stick to that decision.
Right.
But yeah, I love when Disney pretends to take the moral high ground with them mentioning COVID. That always kind of
It's so true,
laugh.
and you know, and under California law, Scarlett Johansson has to prevail under these kind of guidelines. She has to convince the courts. Do you believe Disney intended to induce Marvel into acting in bad faith? And I love Disney's response, because they even responded back to Scarlett Johansson saying it's a callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Do you think that will hold up in court?
Well, I mean, a lot of people on Twitter were pointing out they had no problem with COVID when they were reopening their amusement parks, you know, last summer.
I like that's a good point. That's a good point. And I know Marissa's starting to give me the signal. We actually have a really cool special opportunity. We have a special guest joining Marissa I and Elizabeth Betsy Kim for us. This is the producer, Jessica Devaney of Pray Away. It's an amazing film. We're so stoked that we got her in here live on the Chris Collins Show Millennial Talk Show. But before we begin, let's play the teaser of Pray Away. You got that set up, Marissa?
I don't have it set up. It just takes me 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Rock and roll. I think this is the best thing to be able to kind of set
start
the
talking.
tone.
I don't have the
teaser for Pray Away. No worries. You know what, Jessica? Let me throw this at you, because obviously, you know, when you watch that trailer, I mean, it's gut-wrenching. I mean, especially a lot of the themes and the topics that are being brought up in Pray Away. Why did you want to create a film focusing on gay conversion therapy?
You know, we really wanted to draw attention to the fact that this still is ubiquitous across the country and around the world on every major continent, that it's still happening today. And it's the evangelical and conservative Christian church's main response to LGBTQ folks.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, so you're saying that we're starting to see more of this same kind of practice even back then happening in the 21st century?
Yeah, it's, you know, you might have heard of bans happening in a number of states, but these bans are very limited. They only ban licensed practitioners, and conversion therapy primarily happens in religious contexts. So the bans are important in terms of raising awareness and limiting it in one way, but yeah, it's alive and thriving.
Wow, that is incredible. And I know, Betsy, you had a few questions that you wanted to ask the producer of Pray Away. So let's let you have the floor. Did you want to let her know what's good?
Yeah, so something that really struck me about the documentary is like it's a very compassionate documentary, which I think is a real accomplishment given the body count of spreading this kind of dogma. It's very sobering, it's very sad. So I was wondering how you and other, people involved in making the film approach the concept of judgment or even compassion when it comes to, portraying these people who have done a lot of harm.
I really appreciate that question. And just the reflection that it's compassionate. One thing that is really striking about this world is the leadership is largely, almost entirely comprised of former LGBTQ folks themselves, which may be a surprise to some people who might think that it's like straight led, attempts to change people's sexuality and gender identity. And because of that, it's a real example of like deeply internalized homophobia wielded outward and then weaponized to hurt other LGBTQ folks. So we wanted to approach it with the understanding of that context.
Yeah, I think I didn't know, that these people who, are professed ex-gay, are a critical component of how effective this movement has been. I grew up in the church. I think it's really easy for a lot of like people who are not religious to think of, youth pastors and evangelicals as very cringy and uncool, and that's probably true. But these people really understood, the power of testimony and how to weaponize it. And sort of in Julie Rogers' case, who is one of the main subjects of your documentary, an essential component of that was, her personal history and trauma being commodified and just like marketed aggressively and very like effectively, I would add.
Yeah, it's
that's just a reflection.
It can be very meta. Like I also grew up in the church, and that's partly what working in documentary storytelling. It's like you kind of come from a community that deeply values stories and for whom stories really shape reality. So now making films, getting to make other stories that are interventions on those persistent narratives is like a real motivator in my own work. So I appreciate
and I have to say it was a powerful movie. I started crying when I saw it when they were on the wedding altar without giving anything away. They're getting married, and I saw her scarring that she had done, and she purposely had picked a dress that allowed to show that her history versus covering it. I started crying. I mean, amazing storytelling, and that story needs to be seen out there. So thank you.
Yeah, like how do you keep composure when you're filming some of these, I keep saying gut-wrenching scenes, because I don't know if I would be able to kind of keep my cool in the moment, especially when, as you're you're giving them an outlet to be sort of compassionate, but at the same time, the program that they were doing called Exodus is very, very cringeworthy. I mean, how are you able to keep your cool when sometimes you probably wanted to reach over on the other end and be like, why would you do this? Like, this is the craziest thing of all times. I mean, how do you have that kind of restraint, as a producer and filmmaker?
I would say overall, our model is really interested in responsible authorship, where the core creative team on any film that we produce has a stake in the communities that will be most impacted by that film. And that was very true in how we built the team of Pray Away. So many of us in the core creative team have like personal experience or connection to the trauma of conversion therapy. Which makes it both harder and easier to be compassionate in our filmmaking. And with Pray Away and our other films, we really bring like a trauma-informed approach to the filming, to the filmmaking process, and to the outreach and engagement as well.
Yeah, I think it's an absolutely beautiful film. I think everybody needs to go ahead and check it out on Netflix. And I find that really, really cool that you guys even have that platform like a Netflix to be able to stream that film. And for anybody that wants to see your future work, Jessica, where can they follow you on social media?
At Multitude Films.
Amazing. And also Elizabeth Betsy Kim, we also got to do a shout out to Gen Z Critics. Where can they follow you on social media?
Yeah, we're at Gen Z Critics on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
You know what, CCS family? You got a lot to check out this weekend. We got
Yes.
Gen Z Critics and Pray Away. Thank you again for joining the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show.
Thank you both.
Thank
All
you
right,
all.
we'll talk
Ciao.
later. Peace. What's good, listeners? We're thrilled to have Phreckles join us live on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. Also, check out our brand new podcast series, Off the Fret, featuring the Blowies as our inaugural guest. More music talk. Out now, wherever you listen to your podcast. But hey, what's good, Phreckles? How you doing, fam?
Hi.
Hi.
So
How
what's
are you
good?
guys?
Look at you. You can already tell that you're a model. I mean, you're gorgeous. I mean, you got the perfect hair. I can understand on a level where you got the idea where Phreckles came from. But I want you to be able to explain to the listening audience because, you know, obviously that's your stage name. And how did you come up with it?
Right. So my first stage name before Phreckles was Famale. Spelled
Famale.
It's almost like a tamale. All right.
yeah, it was spelled Female. So if you looked for it online, it was female. You would never ever find my music.
Oh my God, I was totally thinking of tamale, but hot. Like famale, like femme fatale. As you can tell, I'm from LA, so we get a lot of tamales out here.
Isn't that an interesting point that you bring up? Because even last week, I'll say, for example, we had the band Dummy on, and I was telling Marissa, I was like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of bands called Dummy. And on a level, that's kind of a risk factor. So you found out kind of real quickly that, like, especially with female, now that we have pronoun talks being happening in sex talks 24/7, it might be
Right.
kind of hard to be up in that discoverability. So that was kind of the main reason why you decided to change the name to Phreckles.
Yeah, it was a combination of things. I also, Famale was someone who did a lot of cocaine and partied a lot, and all of her music was about parties and drugs and turning up. And I'm 5 years sober now.
Congratulations.
But you know what's also very interesting is, I
Congratulations.
mean, you in your how you spell your name, Freckles is not with an F. You do it with the PH. You know, in the beginning of the stage name, and then at the end you do the money sign, which maybe people think that's sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So where did that come from?
Yeah, like I said, I realized that I couldn't perform any of the stuff that I was doing before through Famale when I got sober. So I decided to rebrand. And when I was rebranding, it was like, okay, I want to come up with something that has its own lane. Like if you Google Freckle or I was trying to come up with it at the time, but if you Google Freckles with a PH and a $sign, you will only find my stuff.
It's true. It's 100%, which made it easy for me to tag you and like find you. I was like, because usually I have to go like, okay, like Dummy killed me. Because I was like, which like thing am I like tagging correctly? And you know what? You remind me a lot about Prince in the sense when Prince became religious, got sober, even though he had an obvious issue with prescription medication later on, but he wouldn't perform any of the stuff that made him famous because it did not resonate with him and it wasn't his story anymore. And I love that you connect yourself with that and made your own persona again.
Well, I love how your stage name Freckles is one of a kind, and I have to say your music is quite intriguing because it's something that I've never personally heard before. It's like you're rapping during the verses and then you're singing during the chorus. So like, how would you describe yourself as an artist? Because I couldn't quite put you in a genre box. And do you even like being placed in a box?
I don't want to be in a box. Yay! Out of the box. So I grew up playing instruments in band. I was a band nerd. I played trumpet. From there, I went to the punk scene, played bass guitar in like 4 different punk bands. And then kind of like had a baby, started modeling and came back to music. And hip hop kind of had a profound impact on my life. It was, some of the darkest points in my life. So now I kind of think my music is a mesh between hip hop, pop, and like a little bit of a rock edge in a way.
Yeah, I hear that. That's for sure. And I know we're about to be playing your music video because of you. And you sing the following: all because of you, I can finally see the light. Since you came into my life, I think it's gonna be all right. And at first it sounds like a love song, but it's more like Blurry from Puddle of Mud. Like you think it's about, a guy and a girl or whatever your sexual preference is. But it sounds like, what is the hidden message to it? Because it seems like there's a special guest that's being showcased in that music video. Who is this individual?
First of all, it's crazy that you mentioned Blurry Puddle of Mud, because that's my ex-boyfriend, Wes Scanlon.
What? I had no clue. I really had no clue. That was just a random song comparison.
Anyway, that threw me off a little bit, but the song is actually about my daughter. Yeah.
So I hate to bring up your ex, but I mean, you get what I'm saying, right? I mean, Blurry was about his kid, and I mean, is this about your daughter?
It is absolutely about my daughter.
How special is that to have your daughter in your music video? I mean, I found that really, really cool.
I mean, it's for her, it's just another thing. She doesn't really get it because I've been modeling and doing everything that I do basically her whole life. So it's just like another day to her, but.
Trust me, I think she realizes how special you are. And I mean, you are the mother to be. I mean, you're perfect. And you know what? Let's let the CCS family know what's good, Marissa. This is Phreckles, and this is her track, Because of You, live on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show.
Perhaps I didn't love myself enough, I needed practice. Hating on the hand I had been dealt, so nothing mattered. Living in the pain, I felt I didn't care what happened. Too difficult for taking help, I always send unpacking. I'm good, lead me to my bad habits. Locked away in my cabin, you should run away. I'm not like you, from another planet, completely filled with pain, and my body was my canvas. I didn't know that one day I could help people like me. I felt alone in school because the kids were so damn mean. I hated them, I hated mom, I hated dad, I hated God, but most of all I hated me. Then you came around and you changed a couple things. All because of you. I can finally see the light. Since you came into my life, I think it's gonna be alright. All because of you. I think we'll be good, we're gonna be alright. I don't believe it when they say that people cannot change. Nobody is perfect, it's okay to make mistakes. Gotta keep on going, can't let nothing in your way. Wake up every morning, put a smile on that face. All because of you. I can finally see the light. Since you came into my life, I think it's gonna be alright. Yeah, if I could tell you one thing, let it be this. Never give up, never quit. I would've missed out on so much. Dry those pretty tears up, baby girl, because you're perfect. Just the way you are, so love yourself, cause you deserve it. And anyone who's ever tried to hurt you just ain't worth it. Turn your struggles into lessons, it's a blessing when you learn it. One day you'll find another girl that's crying your same tears. Tell her how you got through it and take away her fears. I promise you have purpose, tell the girl that's in the mirror. So keep on holding on and give yourself a couple years. All because of you. All because I can finally see the light. All because since you came into my life. All because I think it's gonna be alright. All because of you. All because
Yeah, that's what's good. Look at my green screen. What happened? What happened? What is going on? Okay, there we go.
Love
You gotta love
that.
technology. But
And
hey,
is that your daughter? Is that your daughter in
is.
that video? Oh my gosh,
That's
she's
my
so
daughter.
beautiful and looks
Very
just
beautiful.
happy. Like, congrats, man. Our youth, I have a 3-year-old. So that's why I was like vibing with that. I was like, it changed my perception. The second I had her, I was like, wow. Wow. I have to say it's beautiful.
It was a slow change for me. I was on a pretty dark path most of my life. But yeah, I've gotten to where I am now, which is way better than anyone thought I would be doing. So
I love
Absolutely. And I want to remind the listening audience that you're listening to the Chris Collins Show Millennial Talk Show. And this is Strike a Chord, where if you physically or digitally pick up that record, you're going to know these tracks. And we got the one and only Phreckles with us. And we just played her music video because of you. And that's easily something, if you're down near Newport Beach or Santa Monica, you definitely want to be riding down the coast mobbing to Because of You, because it's definitely one of those beach cruiser
Top
tracks.
down. Yeah, the top
exactly,
down.
with the
Sun's
top
on
down.
you.
Oh, yeah, you already know it's good. I need to stop talking. I need to stop singing. But Phreckles, I mean, you literally played a show last night in Santa Monica. I mean, how rewarding does it feel to get back on stage after a full year?
yeah, it's been pretty cool. This is actually my third show since we've been back. I have another one tonight, actually. I almost didn't make this, guys, because I only got an hour's worth of sleep by the time I dropped my daughter off at school.
Oh,
And I came home and I was like, I'm going to take a 1-hour nap. And my alarm went off and I don't know what happened. Like, I think I turned it off in my sleep. And like, luckily, one of my friends called to check on me, and here I am. But like, literally, I had to throw some makeup on and get here. I can't tell you how much of a perfectionist I am. I would have been mad at myself for like at least a week if I didn't make this today.
And
Well,
you know
I
what? Honestly,
appreciate
it
you
also
coming on.
shows. It also shows what a professional you are. It's actually kind of shocking how many musicians are hard to get hold of, trying to get stuff. Your team and you on point from day one, and that's what makes the difference of someone who stays local and someone who goes international. In my opinion.
Absolutely. And I know, the hustle is real when it comes to live concert events. And I mean, are you skeptical on the level about the return of live music? I mean, is there anything that you've seen so far that you're like, is raising red flags, or do you think this is going to be a successful run all the way until the end of the year?
So one of my exes showed up to the show last night, an ex that I've blocked from 15 different phone numbers.
Oh,
and
nice.
he came up to me like, sorry, I'm late. I found out about this late. Like, he was invited. That was crazy.
Stalker.
I actually have a song on my album called Red Button. You mentioned red flags, but it's literally about the situation.
And he's pushing
with
your
him.
Ah,
Like,
I'm
wild, but
sorry.
it's okay.
It's really funny because my next question was going to be literally, what's your toughest
Guys are lame.
setback? But now it sounds like I'm just raising all from the dead your exes out of nowhere during the Chris Collins show, which was not
I
my
think Chris
intention.
wants to try to be an ex. Be
never
careful.
know.
He might
It's
slide
not my-
into your DMs.
It definitely wasn't my
It's
intentions, but it's definitely hilarious.
As far as like the COVID thing, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I think it's a strong possibility that we may shut down again. For me personally, I've been vaccinated. I'm double vaxxed, fully vaccinated. And I feel like I've done everything that I can to try and protect myself, but I can't just stay home for the rest of my life.
I know.
Right.
I dropped my first
Agreed.
album. Things have been really going in a way that they've never really fallen together for my music before. And I just don't have it in me to like sit this one out.
But like during COVID though, like what was that toughest setback? Do you believe like trying to find the venues to be able to play your live music, or was it actually creating new music?
So with the venues, actually, I've been creating my own opportunities with my team. My album release party, we put on. The show last night, we put on. And the one before that was just someone I've known for a while. And this one tonight was just through Instagram, So I haven't really had to do so much like trying to like book myself. I just booked myself.
So definitely the young artists that are listening on Strike a Chord, you can hear from Phreckles herself that like there are opportunities to play live music again. You just gotta hustle and grind to make it happen. And I love that message that you're conveying right now, because I feel like that is the biggest downfall for a lot of bands right now, especially the groups that are like 5 years old and younger. Like, they feel like they have no room for success right now, and that's not true, and Phreckles is proving that. But I know that we're about to be playing you another music video, and this song is called Wait For Me. And I always love digging into the lyrics because I always find that really, really cool. And you said a particular line in the track during the pre-chorus, and you say, everything's changing right in front of me. There's really nothing that you can say to me. Tell my mama I'm gonna make it and just wait for me. I mean, talk to me about what overall feel and tone you wanted to, convey in this track.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have a dark past. I was put in hospitals growing up for cutting myself. I'm a drug addict. I'm a cutter. And it's like there's so many different like situations that I've been in where it's like, damn, like I'm not even supposed to be here right now. By the grace of God, I'm still here. But my parents were for a long time just waiting for a phone call. I can't imagine as a parent now, like what that must have been like for them.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who's gone through that, because I've
and Chris,
expressed...
we do want to
oh,
play
I know,
her
and I think we'll have enough time to be able to do it. But
I
really,
but it's okay.
Okay, you know what? No problem. I will skip that question. Maybe I'll ask you right after. But you know what? That is so true, Marissa. We got to be able to play the song in full. This is a fabulous track from Phreckles. Check it out for yourself, CCS family. This song's called Wait For Me.
It's Phreckle. Sorry, Mom. Yo. Let's go.
Everything's changing right in front of me. There is really nothing you can say to me. Tell my mom I'm gonna make it. You just wait for me. You just wait for me. You just wait for me. Working every day, I'm gonna find a way. I got a goal that's paid, straight out of 24K. Love when you throw me shade, always inspired by hate. Look at how far I made it, all of these things I traded. Look at this picture I painted, all the hard work and patience. Haters keep making me famous, never gave up, that's basic. Everything happens in stages, I'm writing whole new pages. Travel to different places, watch me as it changes. Everything's changing right in front of me. There is really nothing you can say to me. Tell my mom I'm gonna make it. You just wait for me. You just wait for me. You just wait for me. Everything's changing right in front of me. There is really nothing you can say to me. Tell my mom I'm gonna make it. You just wait for me. You just wait for me. You just wait for me. I had to overcome, make something out of none. Aim and shoot that gun. Take to the road I'm running, cracking all the codes. I'm learning as I go. You already know, they can't tell me nothing. Everything's changing right in front of me. There is really nothing you can say to me. Tell my mom I'm gonna make it. You just wait for me. You just wait for me. You just wait for me. Everything's changing right in front of me. There is really nothing you can say to me. Tell my mom I'm gonna make it. You just wait for me. You just wait for me. You just wait for me.
I'm so sorry, Mama, didn't mean to cause you pain. You did the best you could, I'm the only one to blame. Couldn't handle all the problems that were sitting on my brain. And the things I put you through, you still came to save the day. You and Dad were heroes through my destructive hurricane. When I was hanging out with weirdos, you accepted them the same. Haunted by the mirror and I went to you, you kept me safe. Now my vision's clearer and my life's starting to change.
Changing right in front of me. 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 Changing. Everything's changing right in front of me. There is really nothing you can say to me. Tell my my mom I'm gonna make it, you just wait for me. You just wait for me. You just wait for me. Everything's changing right in front of me. There is really nothing you can say to me. Tell my mom I'm gonna make it, you just wait for me. You just wait for me. You just wait and see.
Yeah, that's what's good. That is Phreckles, and that is her track, Wait For Me. And Phreckles,
Loved it.
much success on your show later tonight. And also for the CCS family that wants to check out your music, where can they follow you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on all my social media at I am Phreckles.
That's right. Don't forget, it's with
With
the
a dollar
PH, fam.
sign.
With the PH, okay? Don't forget that. But Phreckles, we love you, fam. Hopefully we can have you back on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show in the future, and much success moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thanks, Freckles. Ciao.
Have a good day.
Thank
too.
you. All right, listeners, this is what's good because there's just so much negativity on channels 2 through 11. So Marissa and I, we want to let you guys know what's good. So since the start of the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show, Marissa and I created What's Good because we recognize that the media is failing to report the positive news. I mean, millennials like me grew up in the 90s. Homicide rates in the U.S. plummeted by 42%, but the television news coverage of murders surged by more than 700%, according to the Center for Media and Public Affairs. Do you get where I'm going with this? With that being said, I was pleased to find not one, but many What's Good stories to highlight this week. So Marissa, let's let the CCS family know what's good. Check them out for yourself.
I am smart.
That part, go.
I am a good person.
Love it.
I am awesome.
Louder.
I am.
Yes, louder.
I am a good person.
Good sports player.
I am strong and independent.
Uh-oh, we want me here. We want here. We got trouble in here. We want here.
She's dead.
In West
Needs to go one-on-one Aaron Judge
Yep.
with like a MLB.
Oh my gosh, that is like the coolest story.
Give me some, Dad. Oh my God.
And you know what, Marissa and I, we want to thank all of our active listeners for joining us every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, this show wouldn't be possible. So Marissa, so what's our next week's guest?
Oh, let me get that for you. Hold on. So our next week's guest that we have our Strike a Chord is Hurricane Highway. They are a American country style band from Ireland.
Right? I mean, isn't that pretty
Which
cool?
it circles back all around if you know anything about country. So I'm digging for have that coming on. And then also we have our director from Whelm, Skylar Lawson, coming in. Whelm is also weirdly themed Western. So it's going to be like a whole entire
It's
Western
a
week coming up.
really sexy looking film.
It's
Let me just put it that way.
awesome.
It's really, really bitchin'. And also, let me not forget, we got to thank our today's guest for joining us. I mean, the one and only, the incredible Elizabeth Betsy Kim for returning to Just Talking. Go ahead and submit your submissions if you're 24 years or younger. Not to discriminate against my 28-year-old ass who just
You're now old.
a little bit older. I'm a little too old now. But I mean, hey, listen, that's an amazing opportunity for people out there. And also, let's give a huge shout out to our special guest producer, Jessica Devaney, with Pray Away, and also Phreckles. She's got an amazing career. If you can make it out to her show tonight, go ahead and go all over her social media account and get those tickets today. And you know what, CCS family, if you want to be a member today, join the Chris Collins Show Millennial Talk Show website at chriscollinsshow.com and get that free CCS t-shirt. For now, enjoy the weekend, fam, and Marissa and I will see you next week. Peace. The Chris Collins Show presents Music Storm 2021, hosted by Chris Collins and Marissa Pitts, featuring Tiana Kutcher, Some Daggers Wear Red, Desmond Walker, Doulos, Saturn Till June, YT Will,
it feels good to be the bad guy. Walk these shoes, you'll see why. Look at things from both sides, ain't nothing like the
EC Main,
one thug, Lord, show a little mercy on one thug.
The Phoenix Within,
There's more weight in my words than you give me.
Chloe Wilder, Jonas and I, Kane, and Animal Sun.
So tell me how do you see reasons to carry on?
Music Storm 2021, available on YouTube Live. Peace! Our brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
I love it. It's more time to chat. Hello.
You would look
Can you
so
hear me?
jazzy.
I love your outfit.
How far would you go to start playing live music again? This slaps harder than my ex when she got her stimulus check. So, are you here to bring the sexual healing with your music? Everything is Everything, and I guarantee you're going to hear this song in the future. I love the flow, man. Politically charged album. So, if you get easily offended, this might not be the album for you. Brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
So excited.
Has Kim Kardashian accidentally sent you a coochie shot?
Do you want to stay there? It's completely your choice. Or you want to...
I feel you.
And you know what I love? Off the Fret. More music talk. Peace.